Hi, welcome to the Hobby to Hustle podcast. My name is Gemma, owner of Calligraphy Gems and Creative Biz Success, and I'm here with the lovely Candice. Candice, can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Candice. I am the owner of From Yours Truly Studio, which is a stationery business for Kit and Dino. I do some calligraphy. Gemma, do you want to tell me a little bit more about what you do?
Yes, so I would describe myself as a calligrapher predominantly. So I specialize in teaching the art of calligraphy to others through in-person workshops, courses, things like that. But something I've also introduced is a business for creative business owners. So I'm there to help them along their journey, which is kind of one reason we've ended up here with each other
Mhm.
on the podcast. And Candice?
What I do is stationery, which is predominantly Kit and Dino. These two characters I created in 2019, and that's when I decided that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna run the stationery business. But it's originally under the name of From Yours Truly Studio because I did start calligraphy first. It was calligraphy for a year, and then I slowly migrated more towards stationery because I realized that it's more my niche
Mm.
to draw than it is to do calligraphy.
And I just have to say, BC is in Canada.
Oh yeah,
Candice
right.
is
Sorry.
Canadian. You need to remember people don't know who we are.
Right,
So
right.
Candice is based in Canada and I'm based in the UK, specifically in England.
hmm Yeah.
Yeah.
So why we started this podcast is because over the years we have talked to a lot of people. Um, One of our coaches, we have a mutual coach. I met her in end of 2019. Her name is Dina Liu. That is how I met Gemma, which is through Dina, and we, basically formed, I would like to say, business partnership as well as a friendship. In terms of business
Mm.
partner, it's more like both of us vented out our like particular situations, our stress. We also checked in on each other in terms of our stress levels
Mm.
and like reminded each other. So we're kind of like each other's business rock, even though if we're doing
Mm.
slightly, different things.
Yeah, I would describe us as biz besties.
Yeah, yeah.
um, yeah, like meeting with Candice on a regular basis virtually has been such a lifesaver. I think it's definitely been really, really helpful for me as a business owner to have someone who's going through the same thing. And I've listened to lots of business podcasts in the past, and I found that really reassuring, like listening to other people and their experiences. And I think we just wanted to do a similar thing to share our experiences, both the ups and the downs, and basically be here to cheer you on.
So the podcast was Gemma's idea because she really wants to help people out, which, is why she has creative biz success, is she wants to help other people not only understand like where they want to be in their business as well as help them get there,
Mm.
which I think is really important because a lot of the times when you're starting a small business, you do feel alone. Like Gemma, you felt alone when you
Mm.
started out your business, and you did have a lot of downs when you first started, but so did
Mm.
I. But you and I didn't know each other yet. So when we
Yeah.
started talking to each other, we're like, wait, hold on, you had this struggle too?
Mm.
I feel like if we had each other at that moment, I think it would have been much easier
Yeah,
for
I
people
agree.
to like talk about, their struggle. Like for example, um one of the things that we will be talking about would be like burning out. And
Mm.
we have noticed that like everyone has their different patterns of burnout. Like they show different, signs that like, oh, I can tell when Gemma's about a burnout when she starts over planning. And
Yeah.
so we have noticed like I'm a different person. I notice when I burn out. Maybe these indicators will also help you understand yourself a little bit more, going like, oh, right, I'm going through the same thing. Maybe I am also experiencing a burnout. It's just good to have someone to help you check in with yourself when you're not at your 100%.
Mm.
And that's what we're here for.
Mm. Yeah, and I think hearing about the behind the scenes stuff of running a business is really insightful, because a lot of the content that we're consuming is the positive sides of running a business. Like, I don't often see the negative sides. Not that we're going to be like a really negative podcast, like we're going to be discussing like the ups and the downs and strategies, but it is really helpful to learn actually some of the challenges that creative business owners go through and how we've worked through them as well. We'll do an episode in the future about things you can do when your business is quiet. I think that would be really helpful, not just in terms of, you know, the economy going, yeah, but also like summer slumps. I think summer slumps are quite common for business owners. So talking through things that you can do over the summer period to prepare. And I think that I commonly fall in the pitfall of panicking when things are quiet rather than actually taking a moment to reflect and work on projects that I've been wanting to do for a while.
What prompted you to do your creative biz success?
So for me, I absolutely love calligraphy, but something I really enjoy doing is helping other creatives, basically giving them my unsolicited feedback. No, I always try to help other creatives. Like, I know how hard it is to run a creative business. And when I went through the tough times in my own business in the early stages, having a community was so important for me. Like, I received a lot of help in the early-ish days of my business. And yeah, that's what I want to be. I want to help others, just save them time, to save them stress, and to save them tears if they're someone like me.
Yeah.
That is often full of self-doubt. So yeah.
Very few times do I find myself that I'm at a neutral. I'm either really happy about something, or I'm just going like, this is not working out. Everything's going wrong, Gemma. I don't know what I'm doing. And you're always here to remind me, like, you know, you had a plan. It's not going according to plan. That's fine. Let's talk about how you can change some things. Let's see what's not working. Let's see what is working. This is actually a topic that we will be talking about as well later on. We have an episode that's dedicated to planning. And yeah, like, I think that this is one of the best ways for us to share our knowledge is through listening to our conversations with each other and just talking about like, oh yeah, I remember that time when we went through this and this is how we resolved that situation. I think it's good for us to kind of share that. That way people have different tools and resources to also understand their situation and maybe apply our solution over to theirs and see if it works. If not, at least you gave it a go, right?
Yeah. And I think what potentially makes us different from some other podcasts is that, like, we weren't immediately successful. Like, I often hear like business gurus like, I quit my full-time job and I made 6 figures within 6 days. And obviously that's an exaggeration, but you hear lots of success stories, and I think we've done a fantastic job like over the last couple of years, but I think our version of success is a more realistic one, which I think is helpful to share as well. I think COVID helped people take a step back and think about what they actually wanted from their lives. A lot of people did want to finally start that business that they'd been thinking of. And I think that timeline-wise, a lot of those people are probably in similar shoes to us. Like, they're a couple of years into their business now. For example, for me, I was placed on furlough for 9 months during 2020. And that gave me a lot of time to really get me thinking about my business and what I wanted to do.
Do you want to go over what furlough is?
So furlough, just a quick explanation. It's you're being paid by your employer, but you're not working. So essentially I was being paid, but I had free time to do what I wanted. And then that ended up being my business.
Okay. All right. That's that's really good to know as well. But I feel like you did mention that before. I just kind of forgot, so sorry about that. But yeah, like it running a business when you first start off, a lot of the times it is part-time, as a side hustle situation. Like let's say if you want to start a stationery business, a lot of stationery business owners are like students who draw for fun and just sell their artwork for fun, and then maybe turn it into a full-time situation, and they are not 100% ready to jump the gun of like, you know, running this full-time, or they may not even have intentions of running this full-time. So, which is totally fine. Like if you want to do your business full-time or part-time, I find that like whatever works for you is something that like that you have to ultimately decide. It's just that Gemma and I are business owners that are running full-time who left their full-time job, and we know that that transition is very hard. So that's why we want to also kind of tell you guys how we, you know, pulled through. I wouldn't even say how we pulled through. I would just say how we managed the situation.
how we barely coped.
Yeah, how we barely coped with that situation. We're here to help people by telling them what our business pain points are. So the not so great sides of having a business, essentially, how to plan for your business, experiencing burnouts, tips and tricks that you guys can do. And we're more for the creative business owners, since both of us are in the creative industry. And that's who we're here to help.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I think that kind of sums up who we are and what we do. In terms of future episodes, we plan on releasing episodes fortnightly, which is British for every 2 weeks. I know that fortnightly isn't a term used everywhere. So the day that it will be released is TBC at the minute for us. So whichever day you see this episode has been released, it will be every 2 weeks from that point onwards. In terms of where you can find us, we will link our Instagram in the show notes. It's Hobby to Hustle podcast or the Hobby to Hustle podcast. I cannot remember off the top of my head, which I probably should learn, but you will be able to find us on Instagram. So go check us out there. In terms of our individual Instagrams, what's your handle, Candice?
From yours truly studio, no spaces.
Okay, and mine are Calligraphy Gems for the calligraphy side of my business, and then Creative Biz Success for the helping of creative business owners. Yeah, that's all for now. We will chat to you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.